Hello and welcome. This is Ayana Lahi, and I welcome you to this week's episode of Be One, Be You. I am so very happy that you're here with me because as a collective, we get to be in a ray of sunshine within the source of life. In this week's Be One, Be You experience, we are diving in to the theme that is quite relevant in our world at this time, that we see breaking apart in the Western world, and in the United States it is rampant in its inner battle, and in the East and in Asia, the Middle East, and Africa, and all of Europe, we are seeing the patriarchy, the way of the masculine being deconstructed. And in this week's episode of Men Breaking Through the Patriarchy, we are exploring the actual steps that a man can go through in order to decompress out of the pressure cooker of living in the expectations of a system of thinking that has been on the planet for centuries. The patriarchy is a system that grew out of rejecting and separating from the feminine within the body of the masculine, in the body of the male. Without the feminine, the masculine cannot be whole, just like within the feminine, without the masculine, there cannot be wholeness. We're living in a time of a deep confusion around sexuality and the energies of the balanced and self-realized masculine and feminine. The feminine power that exists within both a man and a woman is connected to the earth. The earth is a life force energy that is translated through creativity, manifestation, the systems of creative abundance and money, sexuality, procreation, expression of feelings, and the expression of true God power happens in a balanced way when the root of our being, our lower belly in our body, the space between the navel and the pubic bone, the solar plexus, which is a vital second brain in the body. It is the emotional center in the physical centered body. The centered physical body is centered in the solar plexus, the navel and the lower belly, and the root center. And then we connect with the heart. These centers are portals, they're power centers. What has happened over the last many centuries is that the masculine consciousness has gone up into the head and sees through the mind in the head and has disconnected to the mind in the body. The mind gets overdeveloped in its intellect and separates from the intuitive feeling centers within the feminine. As I have listened and worked with men over many decades, I hear their process of opening up to feeling and thinking that because they feel, a man feels a certain way, that this is now being in touch with who they are. The feelings that come up through coming down into the body are really landmarks. They are markers of energies that have been created from being connected into ourself or disconnected from ourself. The feelings are not necessarily who we are. So if you identify with the feeling, you can get wrapped up in your attachment and your identity to a feeling, and that identity is then hooked into from your ego. They become pals. They link up. And the ego is the part of you to make sure that you are surviving, that you are acknowledging, that you are listening and fulfilling the expectations of the ego mind. The patriarchy is connected into the ego mind, the expectations of that ego part of you to keep you in line, to keep you fulfilling what that ego part of you, who is the protector, the one who had to prove that he could fulfill the projections, the expectations that were being placed upon you that you were too young to really fulfill. So the ego self identifies with the system of behaviors and thinking that you had passed to you as a man to fulfill. Most men understand that crying, it wasn't permissible as a child. And for those of you who were supported in your tears of feelings, the river of growth, the river that flows through all of us, that connects us to the wonders, the questioning, the disappointments, and the deep feeling self as it grows into knowing that it is love and that it can change things and shift things, that it is not the victim. So the ego steps up, the controller protector, the one who thinks that its perceptions are real and that you need to shape up, step up to fulfill its picture of what you're supposed to be. That picture of what you're supposed to be is the patriarchal patterning. And we see in so many children who are being raised now, and parents who are really waking up to breaking this long, long pattern of the masculine being separated from itself. And for those men out there listening, those of you who understand feeling judged and humiliated and separated from what the Western culture has called a true man, who keeps a wall to the heart in place so that the joy of life can't reach you. It's time for families to take down that wall and to create a new standard where love and listening and true seeing and really showing up is really happening. That's really the revolution that really needs to be happening to take down the walls that keep us in judgment of one another based upon color and religion and political beliefs that come from a patriarchal source where the earth does not matter, and all of the elements of the earth, from her resources and her water and the quality of her soil, her richness, her fertility, is broken down through abuse. And this abuse comes through the masculine old paradigm. And it is truly the time to dissolve the walls between our mind and our body, and to release the valve of repressed life force. That sex is not meant to be the valve of the life force. That's a whole nother podcast. And there's a lot of work that I do around sexuality. And I have a great passion for sharing what sex is really all about. In the Spirit Gateways Deepenings mini course, Super Sex Unveiled, I go into it, and there's a lot more to explore. In the Spirit Gateways Passport, that's a deepenings course. It's a signature course. There's deepenings courses and mini deepenings courses and the signature program. The patriarchy keeps us from having a voice. The patriarchy is not what's being done at us or to us, it's what we do to ourselves. And that's really most important. And the way that you as a man takes a stand for something and then goes into a defense is the patriarchal perspective. And it has to do with shutting the self down so deeply that you can't feel. Because if you really felt, it would upset the patriarchal male system of your family lineage, and also perhaps in school, military, in the job world that you went into, and in the family structure system. Without being connected to the feminine, which is your life force energy, it is the depth of power that exists in the feminine that has been squashed. And it's impossible to keep it down because we're standing upon the divine earth every moment. We are interdependent with the feminine. We are awakening as a global collective through every culture in the world to break through the grips of this mindset which was created to control people and to keep people down. And in those countries around the world where women are still denied education and being repressed, and in parts of the United States, reproductive rights are controlled, the separation of the heart and the mind is so great in so many parts of the world that the holding on to refusing this natural earth feminine energy to move in both men and women is breaking open. And when you really listen to the earth within you, and you sit upon the earth and you listen, you realize that there is no way to control a power that is stronger and more potent than anything that the mind can create in separation from the feminine side of the source, the feminine side of God. To recalibrate and reconnect into the integrated state in your body, the balance of your masculine and your feminine energies, you want to start by dropping your mind focus. You go down a water slide from your head into your solar plexus, and you come and you sit into a beautiful pond of water and turn this pond into gold light, a gold light pond. Why gold? Gold is illumination. It is the natural color that opens when you connect the cosmic masculine, the heaven as it's known in Western religion, with the earth. And if you notice, the earth is one and the same in all cultures around the world. But the distortion of the masculine God becoming a judgmental God, the God who is not in the body but something that you pray to outside of yourself, was the beginning of this distortion field. God is in your body, and it is always here. We create the separation. We put on a pair of glasses that are distorting and bypassing the true balance, the true integrated state. It's a state of being that you are. And so the patriarchal mindset has to crack because it's not the natural state. It's a made-up false state created from an ego in distress who couldn't know and be in its own feminine connection, its own life force power. We have to drop our images of what masculine and feminine look like. And in these times, that's pretty obviously clear of what's happening around the world, of men and women exploring what their own masculine and feminine look like and feel like. But it's an internal energy. And it's not based upon what you're wearing or what gender you're in love with or what you're identifying with. The state of union with inside of your own masculine and feminine is for real. And it's a state that it's like you pop into it, you pop open into it because you've dropped your own facades and beliefs about what it's meant, what it means to be a man. And yeah, what it means to be a woman too. To drop down in your solar plexus and sit in your golden pond, you are allowing your brain to connect with the central nervous system within your body. By living up in your head, it's too easy to keep blowing out the fuses and keep making the wrong decisions and follow the wrong perceptions that take you deeper in the hole of being lost in emotions that are never resolved and never healed. The true you is always here. It's how we shift out of the true self that creates the hardships, the financial pains, the love losses, the inability to stay focused with what really runs us, which is how we are in relationship to our own soul. Our soul is the spark of the source. The soul never dies, only our body dies. So that fear of death is what really perpetuates the false patriarchy. So you have to face dying in yourself. You have to face the facade and take off the glasses that keep you from really seeing the magnificence, the spark, the joy that is within inside of you that really wants to emerge, and giving that joy the space to come out, the space for the love to come out, and to take the risk to know that the love that you are is what the world wants, and it is what your partner wants. It is what your own deepest heart wants. So to break through the patriarchal patterns, come into your solar plexus, drop down, slide down that water slide, sit in your golden pond, really go in here, call in the little boy who got lost in the maze of trying to be someone and something that made others happy. Invite him into the pond and receive him and adore him and welcome him in. Receive his hurts, his wounds, his pain, and see the joy in his heart and focus on that and give him the space to be with you. And let him change you, let him evolve you. Let him pull you into his love, his creative genius, his visionary brilliance. And let him sing and dance his energies through you and stop closing off to them. And as soon as you stop closing off, you open up to your feminine. It just is that way because your life energy is your feminine. So stop being afraid of it. Let it in. And you'll find that you'll be able to let in the love and the vibrancy and the sensuality and the intellectual genius of your partner, the one that you love, the one that you really would love to be loved more by as you receive the love. So come into your solar plexus, then drop down into your lower belly, receive the light coming up from the earth, receive that infinite source power, and then come into your golden heart and let your golden heart open to your pain and embrace your pain. And as you embrace your pain, keep seeing the twinkling of the joy in your little boy's eyes and let him come forth and feel his warriorness, his strength, his determination, and get out of the way and let him come through your body. That's opening up your feminine portal. Your feminine energies ignite your true masculine. Let that be. Receive. You. Let go and let the universal you step through the portal to meet you here. Each day receive the masculine you coming through and forth, free of the confines and the restrictions, the expectations of a patriarchal system that doesn't really provide or care about the world. But you're here to care about the world. And that's my invitation to you, is I know you care because you are a spark of life. And life naturally wants to continue the most pure and creative, innovative, effective, successful energy on this plane right here now. We're all about bringing the highest spiritual reunion, connection, and truth into the physical now. And we need you as an awakening man to step forth through the barrier in yourself to make that difference and let your soul walk through the wreckage of old emotions and focus on the soul and receive the light of your soul in your heart as you sit in your pond, in your solar plexus, letting your lower belly exhale and inhale and feeling the feminine life force moving in you. This is how we create the change that's now ready to shift our planet, because we have to create a future that really works for the planet and for all of us. Thank you so much for joining with me, holding you in deep love and deep belief in who you are. Lovingly holding you and what makes you you. I invite you to take a moment to check out my website, IanaLahi, IANALAHI.com, and subscribe to Living from Your Wild Heart, a free 52-week video series filled in meditation and movement and wisdom teachings. And check out all of the Deepenings mini courses and Deepenings courses and all that's here for you to dive in. Thanks for joining me. Thank you for being a part of our collective Spirit Gateways Be community around the world. All my love to you. Until next time, this is Ayana Lehi.